Hey guys, another review on Broforce for the PS4, and this is a PS Plus game. And ever since I've been subscribed to PS Plus, I've always tried out the games on PS4, sometimes Vita and PS3. I don't download every single game. There's a lot of games that come to the service that I'm just like, I don't know, that just don't really appeal to me. But every now and then there'll be a few games that come out on the service that interest me. And this is a game that's been on the PC for quite a while, and it launched on the PS4 with PS Plus, and I guess it won a vote of one of three games. And it always looked pretty interesting to me on the PC, but it didn't have enough appeal for me to put down some money towards it. So it was a good thing that it came to PS Plus, so I could play it for free. Unfortunately, this game is a mess, and it's actually a shame because the game itself is actually quite fun. In fact, it's probably some of the most fun I've had with a video game in quite some time, at least as far as like side-scrolling shooters go. It's very similar to Contra or Metal Slug. I think Metal Slug is the main inspiration for this game, and it has some unique twists that are pretty interesting. And it's a funny game, and it's just really fun to play. And it's a shame because this game's plagued with performance issues on the PS4. The PC version apparently is decent and runs okay, but for whatever reason, the PS4 version, maybe it was rushed out too quickly to meet the March date, the March 1st date, but like the frame rate in this game is atrocious. We'll talk about that later, about some of the issues this game has, but we'll start off with, I guess, the story. Not much to say here. There is a story mode. There's also a versus mode, and the game can be played co-op. There's not really a story. You're gathering your bros and you're trying to defeat Satan. There's like barely any cutscenes. You get some little bits of dialogue before you take on a mission, but there's hardly any story here, which is good. I think it fits the type of game it is, and you can even do like an arcade mode where you can completely remove like the dialogue and stuff, and I think you just go from like level to level. Not much to say with the story, but gameplay. We'll just jump right into things and talk about the gameplay. Basically, the story mode has like a bunch of different missions. You have like kind of like a world map where you kind of drive your chopper around and go to like the first mission, and each mission has a few different levels, and they usually end off with a boss fight. And once you complete the mission, you just move on to the next. Sometimes you get the choice of two different missions, like you can have like mission 13 and 14 at the same time, which is kind of interesting. And you're basically just kind of going through these missions, trying to get to the end. And I guess we'll talk about what the actual gameplay is like. Like I said before, it's a bit like Metal Slug. It's a side-scrolling game. You're going from left to right. And you basically, your character has a few different attacks. You collect bros, and these are your characters. And in the beginning of the game, you don't start with too many. In fact, you only start with one. And you'll find these guys in cages, and you have to break the cages. And each time you save a person, there'll be like you'll unlock a new bro eventually. So in the beginning, you might have to save 5 people, and once you've saved 5 people, you'll unlock a new character. And basically, you get an extra life every time you rescue someone, and each life is a new character. And that's kind of like the hook with this game. That's the interesting hook, and each character plays differently. They have their standard attack, which is different for each character. One character, for instance, has like a piece of dynamite that you can like stick to walls and you can blow up walls. Well, another character might have like a normal assault rifle or something like that. A character might have a laser rifle. There's a bunch of different weapons, and those are like your standard attacks. Then each character has like a special attack, which have limited uses. And you can find kind of like ammo crates throughout the levels that give you more of these. And so, like the dynamite character, he has like this chicken bomb, basically, that it kind of attracts enemies to it and it blows up. The environments are all fully destructible. Like everything in this game, you can blow up, and you can even kind of like you have a melee attack too that your characters have. You if you double tap, you can dash, you can jump, you can double Well, you don't double jump, but you can climb up walls, and you can also break through walls with your normal attack. Some characters can break through walls faster than others. It basically depends on your character. But basically, you're kind of moving through these environments from left to right. Sometimes you're climbing different structures. It's got like a kind of a Minecraft element to it, and there's some nice strategy where a lot of times it's actually smarter to kind of tunnel through the environments to reach your objective, and you kind of raise like these American flags, and they're kind of like your checkpoints. But usually you'll start at the beginning of a level if you lose all your lives. But if you lose just one life, you'll start back at the latest checkpoint. The checkpointing is actually fairly forgiving, which is good because the game is quite difficult. But most levels do have like a mid-level checkpoint that if you run out of all your lives, you will start in the middle of the level. There's a bunch of different enemies in this game. Like, it's crazy. You'll start out killing just like normal soldiers, but you'll have like enemies that kind of strap on bombs and kind of run after you. Later in the game, you actually run into alien enemies that have acid that will destroy the environments. And then you have the Satan enemy. That's kind of interesting. You have like some demon enemies later that you come across. A lot of the fun of the game is seeing what kind of enemy types that they'll throw at you, and I was kind of surprised with the variety of them. And it's very satisfying to just kill enemies in this game because everything just explodes in bloody chunks. The gore is like over the top. And you have like these funny sound effects that the enemies make when you shoot them. Or you like throw a grenade at them and they try to run away from it. It's all very comical and satisfying. Like, corpses stay on the ground and you can kind of shoot through corpses and they can block bullets sometimes. You have some like hazards to watch out for. You have like saw traps sometimes that enemies can activate. And then you have some really actually clever boss battles. I don't really want to spoil the boss battles, but I was actually surprised with how creative the boss battles were. Like, the game just constantly has all these different new ideas with the levels that you'll come across, and the difficulty kind of curves up nicely, but at the same time, the game is very difficult. You're going to die a lot playing this game. But it's one of those games where when you die, you start playing again almost immediately. There's barely any loading, and it's kind of addictive. I got to say, I kept wanting to play and get further and further. So I'm sounding pretty positive on this game, but unfortunately, the PS4 version, the performance is terrible. The frame rate in this game is it's got one of the worst frame rates I've ever seen in a game, and it gets worse the more you play it. The second half of the game in particular, when you have enemies that can blow up the environment, there's these boomer enemies that come later in the game that kind of just explode, and the frame rate just slows to a crawl. Like, I want to say, like, it's at probably 5 frames per second. And this is constant. Like, there's some boss battles later in the game where it's 5 frames per second the entire battle. And it's excruciating. It makes the game almost unplayable. And it's a shame because the core game is so fun that I kept kind of plowing through, and the frame rate, it was bothering me so much, but I found it hard to care because the game was so enjoyable. But by the time I reached the very end, I got to an escape sequence at the very end, and I'm probably right at the end of the game, but it crashed on me during this escape sequence, and I had to do the entire level all over again. And this game crashed on me 3 times, because not only is the frame rate atrocious, it's got a bunch of other technical issues. So yeah, it crashed on me 3 times. The online barely works. No one ever is able to join your game. You struggle to connect to anyone's games. When you do to connect with other people's games to play like 4-player co-op, it's laggy as fuck. Like, it's completely laggy. And not only is it laggy, then you have the atrocious frame rate. And when you combine the two, it's just completely unplayable in multiplayer. I didn't get to try the local co-op, but the frame rate would probably be even worse still, unfortunately, there. And then there's also this really irritating bug where every time you start a level, a few seconds after starting it, there'll be some input lag with the controller where your character will just stop. and every single input on the controller, you won't be able to do anything. You can't shoot, you can't jump, you can't run, and it's like this. It happens for a split second, but it can really fuck you up. A lot in the later levels, you can die almost in the very beginning of the level. An enemy might shoot you, and because of this glitch, you die sometimes, and they still haven't fixed it. So basically, this game is in need of a major patch to really fix these problems. I don't know what it is. I've heard a lot of people say it's because it's in the Unity engine, which apparently has a lot of issues on PS4 with a lot of other games. I don't know, but like maybe they rushed it out too quick. The technical issues are insane with this game, and usually technical issues aren't something that bother me all that much when I'm playing games, but in this game it was too much, and I've stopped playing the game now. I'm not even going to bother beating it. It's actually remarkable. It's probably a miracle that it even got as far as I did. I got like 15 missions into it. It's probably just because I find the gameplay is so satisfying and so fun, and maybe it's because I haven't played a game of this type in a long time, but I don't know. It is really fun when it's working right, but unfortunately, if you have PS Plus, I mean, maybe give it a shot. Maybe you'll play it enough. Like I've gotten probably enough enjoyment out of it, especially considering it was free. But if you do have an interest in this game, don't get the PS Plus version. Honestly, it's better to just pay the $5 or $6. I think it was on sale for like $5 or $6 on Steam for PC. If this game looks fun to you, get it on Steam. It's probably way better there. I might actually get it on Steam at some point because I think the multiplayer would be really fun. And I do like the game. I do think it's a good game. Unfortunately, this PS4 version is just complete garbage. And everyone's been complaining about it too. It's not just me. It's a common problem. Hopefully it gets patched up. Because if it does, if everything was working right, and the frame rate was smooth, and the multiplayer was working, and it didn't crash, it would probably be my favorite game to have come out on PS Plus, even more so than Rocket League, which I actually really enjoyed. But yeah, that's Broforce. I guess with another thing, like I guess I'll talk about like the visuals and soundtrack. It's got like a 16-bit look to it. It looks like a Metal Slug or Contra game. I like all the characters' sprites. I like all the gore effects. The audio, I like all the sound effects. I like the cheesy voice acting, the cheesy guitar type music. Like there's really cheesy metal music that plays in this game. Like it's got a lot of flavor to it. Like I think it's a really funny, charming game too, with all the characters you find. All the characters have bro in their names, and they're like kind of famous characters you'll find in action movies, like the Brominator, Bronin the Barbarian. You have so many characters. Eventually, it takes longer and longer to unlock characters. At the point I'm at, it takes like 25 rescues. You have to rescue 25 characters to unlock a new character, but I'm shocked at how many characters there are, and it's always fun to experiment with them, and obviously other characters are better for other situations. And it's just fun. It's just a fun game, and it's got some neat twists on kind of like the Metal Slug formula. But yeah, I can't recommend the PS4 version. I just can't. Not with the game running the way it does, which is I hate to say it because I do think the game's fun, but yeah, that's it, guys. I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.